holiday season is here, and there are several reasons for many to cheer. Welcome to Sportswire. I'm Will Catterley. One of the greatest gifts so far this school calendar year has been straight out of Varina. The Blue Devils football team won their first regional championship since 2008 and came oh so close to advancing to the state finals. Head coach Stu Brown is more than impressed as he looks back at an excellent run. Well, welcome to another Talking with Will segment. This week, we are at the home of the Blue Devils with regional champion, head coach, football Stu Brown. Stu, let's get right to it. You've had a little while to digest now what your team's been able to accomplish. What would be your main takeaway from last year?
Where we standing right now, you know, we gathered in this weight room on January the 6th, and when we started, we set a goal in mind. You know, we worked towards that goal, and it's one of those things, you know, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve some things. I don't think we got where we didn't achieve the final goal, but we accomplished a lot, and it all started right here, and we kept a mind towards something, we worked towards it, and we almost got there.
I hate to jump right through all the regular season because you guys had a heck of one, finishing number 4 seed here in the 804 for regionals going into the tournament. But I think everything that fans remember are going to take away from is the fact that you knocked out Highland Springs. They're in the playoffs, ending their 40-game winning streak. And that was just 2 weeks removed from your first matchup with them, where you only lost by a touchdown in the same venue at Hermitage. Was there anything that changed schematically? Was there anything that you guys did differently in the playoffs against Highland Springs versus your first matchup?
I think we told ourselves after that first game, if we limited our mistakes, you know, we played Highland Springs in 8 quarters of football and held them to 250 yards of total offense through 8 quarters. And we knew if we limited our mistakes, we can play with them. And, you know, it was a huge honor just for the simple fact what Highland Springs is. You know, I'm biased towards the brand of football that's played 7 miles around this airport. Highland Springs won 40 games in a row, 4 state champions. What they did was remarkable. And that's something else we said in January the 6th, sitting right here. We were like, you know, if somebody's going to put an end to it, it's got to be us, because nobody else is going to do it. So that was a goal we put in mind, and we accomplished it.
Well, it was you, and you did do it, and you were right, because in that first matchup, Bobby Dunn, I think he came into the game with 3 interceptions all year. He threw 3 like in that game. You guys outgained him, I think it was like 300 to 150. You doubled him in total yards. Flipped the script in the playoffs. All of a sudden, you've got Barry Hill, 4 interceptions in that game. And you guys don't turn the ball over. Had some issues in the kicking game, but it works out in your favor. You get the win, you move on. And then you lead up to Manchester. A team, I almost called it like the revenge tour for Varina playoffs, at least in the region. You took care of Highland Springs after losing them the first time. Then you get Manchester going all the way back to week 1. Double overtime, triple overtime game. You come back. How did you adjust to that second matchup? I know it must have felt like you guys were 2 different teams at that point, though.
Yeah, you know, we had played them, 14 weeks earlier. The one thing we took away from the first matchup, that matchup too, they scored on 2 kickoff returns. They scored on a broken play with a quarterback. They scored on a tip pass. We took away from that game that statistically we dominated it, but on the scoreboard we didn't win the scoreboard. So that too, the team that makes the fewest mistakes, which was us, we felt like we could dominate the football game. We felt like up front that we were better than them up front, and I think, you know, in both games we physically dominated the line of scrimmage, and we were able to get a win in the regional championship. So exciting time for us.
I know it's been Highland Springs, it's been talked about the last 4 years and maybe a few years before that, but first regional title since '08. You've had like 9 in the last 24 years now. What does that say to the staying power of Varina football as a program?
Well, you know, the thing I'm most proud of, and, you know, I take totally blame for it, we dug ourselves in a hole about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was not easy getting out of that hole, and it's something that our kids, we in the Mike Robinson Center, our kids, you know, we've had 60 kids go Division I, 10 in the NFL, and luckily our kids have people to look up to and people to remind them who they are, and they got goals to reach for, and our kids want to be mentioned with the Jonathan Lynn, Kevin Lewis's, the Michael Robinsons, the Cordell Rones, the Maurice Kennedys, the Andre Branches, the Morrell Evans. Our kids wanted to be mentioned with them, and the upperclassmen, our alumni support our kids, and they give them the confidence that they can do it too, and our kids ran with it, and they had something to prove, and we were fortunate to win another one.
You've got to be proud of the work that your team obviously put in, but not only that, but the talent they exuded on that field obviously didn't come without the hard work, but it was so well done. plenty of all-region players, guys like Isaiah Page in two positions, first team. Alonzo Ford is another name that makes a list. Tell me about some of these guys. I mean, obviously without them, you couldn't have accomplished what you guys were able to do this year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as far as what this team accomplished, we scored over 600 points, most points scored by a Varina football team. James Reed had 4 carries for 260 yards when you spoke to him in one game.
Right,
Isaiah Page is the best Varina football player I've coached. Alonzo Ford, the thing, Barry Hill broke a regional championship record with 4 interceptions. So they accomplished a lot. And I think we went into the game last week with Mara. We went without 5 defensive starters. We were without Nas. We were without Leonard. We were without Jabril. We were without Goldie. We were without Kirk. And we've been without them guys. And, you know, I can say this about any other team. I don't know if any other team could take 5 starters off them defenses and accomplish what we accomplished. It says a lot about the backups. It says a lot about the willpower. It says a lot about, you know, next man up. And they were not fazed when one of our best players went down. Next man stepped up. We covered it up a little with some Band-Aids. But it says a lot about what these kids put forth. Because we come into the season, not many people went 2 ways. And by the last week, they were playing every special teams, offense, defense, which says a lot about it.
Speaks a lot to your depth. It also speaks a lot to the fact that going into that game, Maury's lowest point total was 31. You held him to 17 and still had a chance late in that ball game to get the win. I guess overall, the next question is really, you know, as a head coach, it's kind of like rinse, recycle, repeat. Start back over, get back in this weight room that we're hanging out in. What is next for Varina football?
You know, we like where we at. Our kids, the thing is the learning curve. You got to learn how to win in big football games. You got to understand that when the playoffs start, it's different. That the regular season, it's a new season. Regular season football games are big, but it's nothing like playoff football. And the only way to experience and get used to it is to get in them games and be successful in them games. And, you know, fortunately, our program got a taste of it. We're going to come right back in here in about 4 weeks. We're going to get at it and get bigger, faster, and stronger. We like what we got returning. We love what we have returning, and, you know, we're going to go from there. We're just going to compete, get better every day, take advantage of it every day. And I think that's the one thing that our athletes have learned, that today's the biggest day of their life. Take advantage of it. Don't worry about what we call rat pours, and do the best you can and roll the dice, see where it goes.
There you go. Coming in as the number 4 seed in regionals, taking down not just number 1, but also number 2, bringing back that regional championship, I guess where you would say it belongs, here at Varina High School, and advancing to state. Stu, I appreciate it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank y'all for all y'all do.
Absolutely, and this has been another segment of Talking with Will. And of course, Varina was not the only big story this year when it came to the gridiron. Highland Springs got all the way to 40 straight wins. Deep Run had an undefeated regular season, and 5 Henrico teams made it to the postseason. Let's take one more look back at the best of football. take a deeper look at many of the other fall sports success stories when we come back. One school in particular led the way and earned several pieces of hardware when the season came to a close. That's next. Hey!
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back to Sportswire. Well, it was an absolutely unbelievable fall sports season, especially if you're a deep run Wildcat.
Across the board, it was a phenomenal fall for Deep Run. We start with cross country. Yeah, state champs. That guy, Colby Burcham, back to back. He won the state championship in 2018, does the same in 2019. Oh, and the girls cross country team won the state championship for the first time in school history. Let's move on to golf, where quietly the Wildcats have built an absolute dynasty. This is the fourth straight season where Deep Run Golf has won the state championship. Led by Charlie Hansen, the foursome for Deep Run, get this, has gone 4 straight years winning the state championship. They've known nothing else, and that was after a double-digit win in regionals. They get a double-digit win in states as well at Magnolia Green. And who could forget the Deep Run boys volleyball team state title match at the Siegel Center? It was an instant classic. Give Glen Allen credit. This was a rematch of the 2018 state finals. They took them to the brink. Deep Run wins in 5 sets, winning the 5th set by the narrowest of margins, 15-13. But at the end of the day, the Wildcats get it done. And that is back-to-back state championships for the Deep Run guys volleyball team. And finally, football. No, they didn't win a state championship, but they did have their best regular season ever. A perfect 10-0 for Deep Run, including this high-flying act by Bo Kite, as Deep Run would win their opening playoff match as well against Prince George. Wildcats across the board fall special season for Deep Run.
And one Deep Run student has been getting the crowd fired up for the last few years. And if you think her tricks as a baton twirler give reason to stand up and cheer, it's her holiday treats that have made a more than lasting impact and deserve the greatest ovation.
We see them score on the field and the courts. But for many student athletes, the greatest wins are away from the arena. You should never play with fire unless you're Deep Run baton twirler Aidyn Mentry.
Most people's parents say don't play with fire, but of course my parents tell me to, and they go out on the front yard with me and they fill some mason jars full of kerosene and gasoline and stick some batons in there, and we light them up, and it's super fun.
Just an average Sunday afternoon at the Mentry household.
When I was in 2nd grade, I got a silly little flyer in the mail, and it said, baton twirling classes, come try it out. So, of course, I had to sign up, and since then it's history.
Even dads learned a few tricks from Aidyn's rigorous schedule.
I do other things to help me. I do dance, I've done cheer, I've done gymnastics, contortion, everything under the sun. I've done CrossFit, personal training, everything I can to strengthen my body and be able to do what I do.
She's performed at pep rallies and put on a blazing show at homecoming. And she's won national and international competitions. But even with the fame and flame, for Aidyn, school comes first.
One more caption writing.
Obviously, I want to twirl at a school, but I have to get in first. So I have to prioritize studying and getting that in.
In terms of Aidyn as a student, she is very dedicated and she's going to keep going and she's going to get everything done. She's very meticulous. And in terms of a human being, she's just got a heart of gold.
a heart of gold that's pretty sweet when it comes to baking.
We had a neighbor that was recently diagnosed with breast cancer way back 9 years ago. We started this charity bake sale in her honor.
Aidyn's Caring Cookies was born, and yes, she's been baking a difference since 2011.
How can we get this involved here, and can you ship to us, and can we pre-order? We're not going to be in town. It's kind of turned into this giant production.
Production that's paid off big for Susan G. Komen in the Think Pink bake sale.
So at Komen, we actually have a tagline that we call More Than Pink. It's about being more than a pink ribbon. It's turning awareness into action. And Aidyn is the definition of that tagline. Aidyn is what More Than Pink means.
More than a showstopper. More than a student. More than pink. Aidyn's action is even more impressive for Kristen Harris, not just because she's the Komen executive director. She's also a cancer survivor.
It's leading by example. It's showing folks that you can take a passion for baking, you can take a passion for anything, and turn it into a purpose. And that's what I think Aidyn has done just beautifully.
Aidyn is still baking and still twirling as she looks to continue her education and take her skills to the collegiate level. Well, when it comes to the holidays, it's the gift that keeps on giving all year, and that gift is money. More specifically, signing day, where all the hard work student athletes have done culminates to one special moment. That's straight ahead.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to Sportswire. Well, when we think about signing day, the first sport to come to mind is football. After all, it's become a made-for-TV, Twitter, and Facebook event, and while several football stars will enjoy that moment soon enough, plenty of athletes from across the sports spectrum, swimming, softball, golf, and lacrosse, just to name a few, have already signed their national letters of intent. And for them and their families, it makes for the perfect stocking stuffer.
Let's start off at Glen Allen High School. Plenty of teammates on hand to see who? Well, to see a brand new signee for Tennessee Tech, a Golden Eagles. Carmen Betts, two-sport athlete, plays basketball, but she's signing for softball. Utility / gap-to-gap hitter, heck of a average, great defensive player. What I loved about this, so much emotion from family, from friends to coaches. This is what signing day is about. It's typically, literally for Carmen, the epitome of hard work paying off. It's the American dream overcome.
Everybody that's here has been like a special part of me and my process to getting recruited to play college softball. And so all the emotions kind of hit me at once because it's a real moment that in 9 months that I will be gone in Tennessee. So that's what kind of hit me the most was everybody being here.
Well, let's head to Douglas Freeman. 5 signing on the dotted line. Faith Adams going to East Tennessee State for softball. Sarah Bender, Notre Dame swimming. A lot of swimmers. Hunter Locker, Navy swimming. Caitlin Wynn from Roanoke. She is a track athlete. And there's Sarah Bender seen there. She goes to the University of Notre Dame. Signs on the dotted line. Also a noted swimmer. Big day for Adams.
I chose them because it's the people in the community. They're amazing and they're all welcoming and they make me feel like I'm at home.
Nice crowd at hand at the home of Deep Run. 4 signing on the dotted line for the Deep Run Wildcats. Lauren Underwood seen here, going to the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, UNC Wilmington, for a swimming scholarship. And yeah, say hello. Christopher Newport University, Scott Sweeney, great baseball player. Megan Pulley signs on the dotted line with NC State for swimming. And Charlie Hansen, part of that state championship golf team. He'll be swinging his clubs at Virginia Tech.
Well, they have a great team culture. It's a great school. Their swim team has been doing great things. They ended up winning ACCs last year, so I'm very excited to be a part of that.
Tech is home. All the coaches are super cool, and I know a lot of the guys on the team. There's about 4 of them that are actually from the Richmond area, so it's as soon as I started talking to them, I knew that's where I wanted to be.
By far the largest group, however, came at Mills Godwin. Huge crowd at hand at the library as you had 9 signing their national letters of intent from left to right. Carmen Wright, great volleyball player going to St. Andrews. Annie Bartley, Randolph-Macon College for lacrosse, who's part of that team that for Mills Godwin went the furthest in lacrosse in school history. James Madison. Madison Cottrell, you see her clapping. She has a swimming scholarship, as does Dukes. Zach Wasburn. You saw Jacob Oberle, Penn State for swimming. David Christopher Helms. There's Oberle. David Christopher Helms from Navy. He's got a swimming scholarship. So does Garrett McGovern. A lot of great swimmers at Mills Godwin with Helms and McGovern both going to Navy. How about tennis? Emily Wirt, the number 1 for Mills Godwin, going to George Mason to continue her tennis career. And Rishi Shankar, University of Mary Washington. He'll continue his tennis career. Madison Cottrell, once again, there she is, heading to James Madison for swimming. Annie Bartley actually let me know about this event. Unbelievable job. Congratulations to all as they sign their national letters of intent. A special day for many proud parents and students.
It's really taught me about how the team aspect of tennis really works. It's taught me more about how to work well with your team and make new relationships with your teammates.
It means a lot. It's pretty much all the sacrifices are paid off. So
it's always been a dream of mine because my dad went there. So it's always been on the radar. And then once I finally got my swimming and academics where they needed to be, it was the clear choice for me.
Penn State kind of had the best of both worlds, academics and athletics. It allowed me to perform at the Division I level, but still have world-class academics that can help me excel after swimming.
Let's go to John Randolph Tucker High School, where 3 of the original swimmers, VHSL Swimming, has been around for about 4 years in front of a pretty good crowd. 3 great athletes signing on the dotted line. Yeah, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill for Daniel Chance. Been swimming since he's 5 years old. Since he was 5, holds a number of records. Courtney Easley started at the age of 3. She signs with William and Mary. And Abby Russell, she will be swimming for Boston College for the Eagles in the ACC. Abby holds 4 different records for the Tigers when it comes to swimming.
I'd like to thank Coach Pulaski and Coach Tanya, my very first swim coaches, who set me on this path and worked out well.
Waking up all these years, all the crazy practices and meets you have taken to, thank you so much for being there for me. I would first like to thank my parents who were there for every single email, text, and call. My friends for being there through all the ups and downs, and my coaches for going above and beyond to help me get to this point. I've had a great 4 years here at Tucker, and I can't wait to see what the next 4 years hold at Boston College. So go Tigers and go Eagles.
To Glen Allen High School we go, a packed library celebrating Star Price. She's been everything for Glen Allen track and field. Star Price holds the record at Glen Allen for every running event except for the 200. She signs a dotted line to run at Virginia Tech.
I literally love this team. They have really pushed me to where I am today. Like, without them, I don't think I ever would have got here. They've given me so many opportunities. Like, my first freshman nationals was all relays, so like they gave me a lot of different opportunities to make myself grow, and they pushed me. Because I remember a lot of my teammates were the ones that were there for me at States that were telling me what I could do, because I was really nervous as a freshman, and they have really gotten me to be able to commit anywhere today.
And with that, let's go with the often imitated, never quite duplicated top plays of the month. Number 5. Okay, we went little November, a lot of December. This is December basketball. Check out the Euro step by freshman Aubrey Ellis of Deep Run taking on Tucker. See this again. Splits 2 defenders right there, and then high off the glass. Don't try that at home. Number 4, staying with basketball, Caleb Kenny is a stalwart defensively against Highland Springs, number 33. Not 1 block. And here you're going to see him again. Not 2. He was a force to be reckoned with. Caleb Kenny, 6 big blocks on the evening, taking on Highland Springs. Add that to his repertoire of 14 points, 12 rebounds, and a double-double in the loss to the Springers. Expect to see more from Caleb in the new year. At number 3, it's never too early for a big-time dunk, as in Henrico taking on Hermitage. Active hands for the Warrior defense. James Wallace, throw it down, big man. He gets a dunk in the victory. Number 2, yeah, couldn't go all of Sportswire without bringing this up as top plays. I mean, it's a number of them. But if you're going to beat a mountain of a champion, you got to be bigger than a hill. And Barry Hill was up to the task. He was a mountain of a man in this one. He got not 1, not 2 interceptions to the starting defensive back for the Blue Devils. No, he didn't get just 3. If you're going to defeat the 4-time defending state champions and stop their 40-game winning streak, you're going to probably need to come up with 4, aren't you? That's just what he does. Barry Hill. Big-time Barry Hill does come up big time as Varina beats Highland Springs and wins regional. But number 1, well, we go back to deep run because I don't think any of the athletes previously, of course they can try this if they want to, can do what Melina Ringas can do on the bars. Check it out. Just the absolute control right here to go all the way back to the beginning bar. And then she would lead everyone in this quad meet against Hanover, Patrick Henry, and Douglas Freeman. Around she goes. Where she stops, she's the only one that knows. Melina Ringas lands it 9.0. And she is more than good enough for top play of the month.
Remember, if you have questions or comments about the show, just send me an email to this address, sportswire@henrico.k12.va.us, and you can always follow us on Twitter. I can't wait to see you next time on Sportswire.
If you want to see more videos like these, subscribe to our YouTube channel.